House hacking is amazing. It's the US housing market's ultimate cheat. The fact that you can buy a duplex in exactly the same way you buy a normal house and then have a tenant paying off your mortgage for you, it's incredible. And you can go as big as a triplex or a fourplex, or as small as a house with a basement Airbnb, or even just roommates. But if you found your way to this video, you probably already know that. You might also be a little suspicious of how easy and simple and magical people make house hacking sound. Because in fact, it's not magical. It's like anything else. Some aspects of it suck, sometimes the reward doesn't feel like it's worth the headache, and even the best of us make mistakes along the way. So in this video, I'm sharing my biggest regret as a house hacker. If you find any of this helpful, please let me know by hitting that like button. It's corny, but likes mean a lot. And so you don't miss any house hacking videos that might help you on your journey, subscribe. My wife and I bought our duplex in 2019, renovated it, and moved in with our then 2-year-old daughter. Suffice it to say, mistakes were made. In retrospect, I definitely didn't hire the best contractor for the job. The work was fine, prices were a little steep, and he got the renovation done in about 4 months, which was very important to me at the time. Should I have hired a contractor who either did better work or cost less, but either way completed the job in, say, 6 months? Yeah, I probably should have. And you know, I never checked the gutters on the property. I wouldn't have thought to, but eventually, because they were clogged with several decades of leaves and debris, the gutter started overflowing into the wall right under the roof line. We didn't find out about this until we started smelling mold in our daughter's playroom several months later. We had to do mold remediation in the playroom and replace the front gutter. Should we have checked the gutters at some point before all this happened? Yeah, for sure. Mid-2023, we moved out and sold the duplex. I explain why in this video, which I'll link to in the description as well. Selling our duplex made the most sense for our family and the direction life has taken us. But I'll tell you, I know I'm going to live to regret selling it. It was such a great asset. It pains me to my core that we sold. But alas, such is life. The thing is, despite these regrets and mistakes, we still did really well house hacking this duplex. We profited about $400,000 on the sale, and thanks to our tenants, we cut our cost of living by about $55,000 each year we lived there. And that's what house hacking looks like with mistakes and regrets. So really, no mistake I made with that duplex was so big that it would qualify as my biggest regret as a house hacker. For my biggest regret, we have to go all the way back to my first property purchase way back in 2009. In 2009, I was 28 years old, kicking ass at work, not as a real estate agent, whole different line of work then, and home prices had been dropping for the last 2 years. So I decided it was time to buy. To make a long story short, this is what I ended up buying. A starter home perfectly suited to a young, professional-ish person like myself. 1 bedroom, 1.5 bathrooms, gated, low maintenance, walking distance to a few shops and bars, and freshly flipped. Now, at the same time, and literally 2 blocks away, this duplex was on the market. 1 bedroom unit upstairs, 2 bedroom unit downstairs. I toured the duplex with my agent and saw that the interiors needed work, but I had an idea for that. At the time, I was renting a house with my roommate, my buddy Alex. I concocted a proposal for him. We'd both move out of the house and into the duplex, me upstairs and him downstairs. I'd charge him a fraction of the normal rent, and he could live alone in his own 2-bedroom apartment, but he'd have to put up with the light renovation work. When the work was done, I'd raise the rent to a normal amount, and Alex could either find a roommate for that apartment or move on to a new one. Either way, I'd live alone in the 1 bedroom upstairs. So I had a workable plan. I really loved the upstairs apartment for myself. The location was great, and I didn't even put in an offer. Let me tell you why. 4 reasons, each one dumber than the previous. Number 1, I didn't know how or even if I could be a landlord. Did I need to sign up somewhere? Did I need to take a course or pass a test? Was I eligible to do a credit check? I didn't even know where to start looking for answers. Number 2, I didn't think I could afford the duplex because I didn't have enough money for the 20% down payment. It was a non-starter from the word go, right? Number 3, and this one's so stupid. There was a cute back patio that still had an old picnic table in it. I was worried that if I bought the duplex and lived upstairs and got tenants I didn't know to live downstairs, then maybe those tenants would have loud dinner parties and that would annoy me. And number 4, the stupidest of all, I listened to my mom's advice. She told me that I should be spending my time focusing on my career, not fixing up a house, because my career was the most important thing I had going. So now let me tell you what my regret was in all of this, and then, to make this a teaching moment, I'm going to tell you why each of those 4 reasons is so stupid. Obviously, I regret not buying that duplex. If I had, I'd have been living upstairs for free in a matter of years, and today, that duplex would be producing thousands of dollars of cash flow, which means profit every month. But my bigger regret, my biggest regret as an eventual house hacker, is that I didn't pursue my questions or really consider my concerns. Instead, I took these frankly small obstacles as closed doors. I don't know how to be a landlord? Guess I can't be one. I don't have 20% down? I guess I can't buy. I'm worried tenants will annoy me? Well, that's a non-starter. And my mom thinks it's a bad idea. Yeah, she must be right. So stupid. What I sincerely regret is not taking a second to ask myself, what should I Google to learn more about becoming a landlord in Los Angeles? I regret not asking my lender if it's possible to buy a property with less than 20% down. I regret letting worry over a complete hypothetical stymie the whole plan. And though I love my mom to death, I regret taking advice from somebody who never did what I was trying to do. Had I pursued these questions and considered these concerns, here's what I would have discovered. Firstly, there's no class or test to become a landlord. Anybody can do it. In fact, the majority of multifamily buildings in America are owned by mom and pop investors, i.e. normal-ass people like you and me. Yes, there are some rules to know and lease templates to acquire, etc., but it's not rocket science. Secondly, then, as now, you don't have to put down 20% to buy a home or a duplex. Today, you can buy a duplex for as little as 3.5% down. Will a smaller down payment mean a bigger mortgage payment every month? Yes, and I think that's what really worried me back in 2009. I think back then I was vaguely aware that you could put less than 20% down, but I knew it would make my mortgage payment bigger, and that freaked me out. But when you're considering a duplex, you have to do all the math, because even with the bigger mortgage payment, that duplex would have been much less expensive to own and a much better investment in the long run than the freshly flipped starter home I bought. And speaking of doing the math on a duplex, I just finished building a website that does all the math for you. The easiest way to analyze duplex deals, or any house hack deal from a house with roommates all the way up to a fourplex, is by going to www.duplexcalculator.com, my new tool that will give you your net monthly payment, a cash flow projection, equity projection, and even an analysis on the overall impact on your net worth. Oh, and it's completely free. Do yourself a favor. Don't analyze house hack deals with anything but duplexcalculator.com. Now back to our video. Thirdly, I was worried about noisy tenants, and I think this is a pretty universal fear amongst house hackers in the making. Today, with hindsight and experience, I can address this a couple of different ways. Firstly, you have to be realistic with your hypotheticals and weigh them against realistic upsides. If somebody said to me back in 2009, okay, here's the deal. You're going to have to put up with a noisy dinner party outside your window once a month, but your net worth is going to grow twice as fast for the next decade, take it or leave it. I would take that deal in a heartbeat. And that was the proposal being made. I just didn't consider it in realistic terms. Secondly, the landlord makes the rules. And as the landlord, you put those rules in the lease. I could have included in the lease language to the effect of, the patio is common space. Quiet hours for common space are 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Problem solved. And thirdly, when I did eventually own a duplex and showed the other unit to potential applicants, I developed a method for letting them know what kind of environment my duplex would be. I didn't leave it up to my tenants to dictate the norms of my property. How I did this is beyond the scope of this video, but I go deep on this method in my new house hacking webinar, which I'll link to in the description as soon as I complete it. So check the description for that link, coming very soon. All right, and lastly, the fourth and dumbest reason I didn't buy that duplex. My mom thought it wasn't a good idea. Look, it's important to seek out advice, especially from your elders when making a big life decision. But you have to discount that advice based on where it's coming from. I love my mom, she's amazing, but she led a very different life than mine, and her homeownership journey was so different than anything anyone in my generation faced coming of age during the Great Recession. So I shouldn't have given her advice nearly as much weight as I did, and really, I should have sought out somebody, anybody, who had owner-occupied a duplex and gotten advice from that person. Am I being too hard on my mom? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more house hacking videos like this one.